Before we begin, shout out to Ultimate Mochi. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. Man's just said, yo, you want a free artwork? And I'm like, sure. Can I get one of Shion? And he ended up being like, I bet then. And then just straight up produce this masterful work. I can't show you the whole thing, but it looks fantastic. Shion is caked the hell up, and I've never wanted to eat her ass more. And I can say this because this is also my character. But when it comes down to it, though, just want to give a quick shout out to Ultimate Mochi because hot damn, did you do very good on this one. Exceptional work, man. Exceptional work.
Excellent.
You know, really, ever since we talked about Front Innocent, I'll be completely honest. I genuinely do believe that this style, the 90s sort of style, when it comes down to anime, is easily like one of my favorite looks that anime has ever really had. And I feel like I wish we had a moment or an era that we can kind of go back to this style to a degree, right? Because there was nothing like this style. Everything has gotten so much more softer and flatter and things like that when it comes down to it. And you still have really good shows that's out there, but ultimately, you're never really getting stuff like this ever again. You're not really getting this to this high level degree of this quality, of this really big level of care when it comes down to it, and it's a bit unfortunate. Granted, again, I understand why you're not getting this because technology is better now and makes things a bit more easier than what it used to be back then, but still, you can definitely tell that there was a vibe back then. There was so much space fantasy shows that existed right there, like sci-fi adventure shows that you really had that just really made up a lot of the vibe of the 90s when it comes down to it. And again, you have good art styles now. You have really good styles that is done and people draw very beautifully now. But ultimately, there's nothing like capturing the radiance of what the 90s had back then. Just to keep it very much a stat, there is a reason why Tenchi Muyo exists for a big level of one of my favorite harem shows of all time, just because of the original art style. Yes, Tenchi does look good and, you know, can be alright in the future, but honestly, it loses a lot of its charm because of how it's represented in the future, because that art style pretty much technically does not exist for any future Tenchi Muyo when it comes down to it. We care about universe, we care about the OVA, and we care about, you know, just basically anything that keep this damn art style because it just fits so damn well. It hits harder than anything else that is out there. It really captures the vibe of sci-fi, fantasy, space, all this other stuff that honestly is just really damn good. That feels like a lost art in anime nowadays when it comes down to it. And very rarely do you feel like you get to see it every now and again. Like, there is very few shows that honestly capture that style the way you would like to see it. The only show I could really think of off the top of my head that I've seen get shown off a little bit due to one girl is, I think, My Status as an Assassin. It doesn't look like the 90s, but it has that feel of like, oh, if this came out in the 90s, I could see it, right? It feels like it's teetering on that edge of wanting to go there, but it doesn't go there because it's so like a modern show. It looks modernish when it comes down to it. And that's like the one show I've seen to really go into that sort of style. And again, there's probably other shows I'm not thinking of either that probably go into that 90s sort of aesthetic, but we don't really get a lot of those anymore. And again, it's a damn shame. Yu-Gi-Oh kind of was in that, you know, aesthetic of that too, and granted that was because it was in the 90s as well. But when it comes down to it though, that was just a nice time. Really, honestly, Yu-Gi-Oh was kind of like the only one that kept up that aesthetic for a good decent while until I would say maybe after V Reigns, and then it went to shit. Like, that's kind of how it is, which is a bit unfortunate when it comes down to it. Like, there is just something about everything looking rough, everything looking edgy, looking like jagged shapes when it comes down to how people, you know, draw characters, draw the scenery, the damn spaceships from back then. There's a reason why people give a damn about, you know, the spaceships and stuff like that that you used to get from back then versus how we get stuff now. And this might be a hot take, and I'll keep it very much a stack. I don't even like spaceships to be that hard. But when it comes down to it though, there hasn't been a good spaceship design since the 2010s. I'll keep it very much a stack. Anything beyond the 2010s, it's been buns. But below it, there's been some really good ships that I feel like, yeah, could stand the damn test of time. Like Ryoki as a damn spaceship. I can definitely see that. There's like plenty of other examples like Gundam and other things that exist out there that you possibly just straight up label like, yeah, I love the style how that ship looked. The damn Soja, when it comes down to it, looks very damn good. I know, just a whole bunch of Tenchi stuff for me, because that's like the only show I recognize with spaceships that I actually know. And I guess you could throw Cowboy Bebop in there and Outlaw Star as well if you really want to. But those like shows that, you know, people could very much pick up and be like, yeah, the spaceships look mad sexy. There's something about these spaceships that just hit way harder than they should. And I know I already talked about Front Innocent, but what about Plastic Little? This is actually a whole different series that the same person made of Front Innocent made of this and did this as well. And honestly, I really do need to watch this at some point in time because, yeah, if it's anything like, you know, the style of what Front Innocent had, I am very much going to be here for this when it comes down to it, right? And that's just ultimately how it is. And then there's an anime I've seen and just only discovered today, which I may or may not finish watching. It doesn't feel like it's anything that's like an ultra standout, but I ain't gonna lie, the main girl looks kind of hot and she's most likely the thumbnail of this damn video, and that is Angel Links. I had no clue of this show, mainly because I never watched Outlaw Star. I know. Boo! Boo me! The only thing I know about Outlaw Star is this shit right here that everybody is super fond of, and Zone made a game of at one point in time, which I mean, sure, let's give her back shots, I suppose. But when it comes down to it, though, what about her? What about this one? Now, apparently Outlaw Star has no connection to Angel Links whatsoever, but ultimately that doesn't matter to me because she about bad as shit. Mayfawn about bad as hell. Honestly, I'm like, we don't disrespect Mayfawn in this house. And I know somebody will be like, dude, you just met her today. I know, and I'm already a fan. That is just how it is for me. But ultimately, yes, from what I've seen, she is just basically Ayaka. But like, if you took Ayaka and gave her a bowl cut, and then you just, you know, you like did other stuff with her to make her more, you know, busty, and then more like of a fighter type character, honestly, and less naggy, I suppose. And I guess that's what Mayfawn is, essentially, right? Again, I have not seen all of the episodes. I only got to episode 4, really 4. I haven't watched episode 4 yet. But ultimately, that's just how it is. And I ain't gonna sit here and lie. Again, it just goes to show you that, yeah, the past has some banger waifus that, again, you just don't see the aesthetic getting pulled off of, like, at all. Again, I have not seen this character until today. And if anybody were to showed me this years ago, I'm pretty certain I probably would have watched this because I think this was on Toonami at one point in time. I would have watched this and I would have dead ass, no BS, probably had her as my favorite waifu, or at least as my first waifu, if I knew what anime was and all that sort of stuff. For sure. It would not have been no bitch ass Sakura. It would have been Mayfawn for sure. And you really can't sit here and tell me this shit ain't a little bit inspired by Tenshin Muyo to a degree. Both Mayfawn has like these small little rabbit looking character animal creatures, and they both transform into some cool shit. Like Ryoki transform into a spaceship that can blast your ass. Well, this little ass thing I don't know the name of, they said the name of, but I don't remember. But basically, they turn into a damn sword like it's Soul Edge. Okay, I suppose. There's so much to like about old anime art styles. It's just genuinely what it is. And you had bad bitches like Mayfawn running around. She about to turn her name into Bayfawn because we're about to bang those blonde cheeks. That is just how it is, honestly. But yes, when it comes down to it, I really do miss the old art style of how anime used to be. It just genuinely is something that I don't really see people ever really bring up. Granted, it's, you know, years old, like 30 years old at this damn point. But ultimately, it's still very good. It still holds up to, honestly, a lot of shows now. And yeah, sure, you can say the quality is a bit shit and the voice acting isn't that great because, dear gosh, listen to some of the characters in Angel Links just very much is terrible, letting you remind yourself that, yes, this was the 90s. Yes, we didn't give a damn about, you know, anime voice acting outside of certain shows, and that's just how it was. But when it comes down to it, though, it is still an aesthetically pleasing looking period of time with, honestly, some of the most detail that I think we will ever see in anime ever. But yeah, really, I did want to just talk about Mayfawn for 5 seconds because I ain't gonna lie, I just met her today. I've just been introduced to the character today, and I'm already hardcore simping for this character. That is just how it is. It is just is what it is. You're gonna have to roll with it. And ultimately, just to talk about again the aesthetic of the '90s, because again, it's such a lost art that I wish we honestly continue to have. I wish we genuinely had the time to actually act more upon this sort of art style than what we kind of currently have. And I get it again because it's more easier to do what we have now to produce quicker. But ultimately, there was a level of talent and a level of just straight up good quality content that we were really getting because of that style. And again, there ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing gonna really be like it. But that's just essentially all I want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on your way out. Also on my socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, Boy J, sign off. Have a blessed day.